everyone, it's Natalie with DesignToTheNines.com. Stay tuned because I'm going to show you how to make this beautiful pumpkin arrangement for your Thanksgiving table. Hi everyone, it's Natalie with DesignToTheNines.com, and the holiday season is fast approaching, but first we have Thanksgiving right around the corner. And so with that in mind, I decided to show you a tutorial today of something that I've done several times before, and that is doing a flower arrangement in a pumpkin. This time, however, I have decided to put a little bit of a twist on it, make it a little bit more classy by doing it all white with all white flowers. Now in the past I've done this usually with an orange pumpkin with lots of vivid colors, which is also really great, really fun as well. But for what I've got going with my Thanksgiving dinner table, and those will be more tutorials coming up, it's gonna have a little bit more of a classy twist, so I wanted to do all white for you today. Now, this again is a styrofoam pumpkin. You can definitely use a fresh pumpkin. It will work just as well. I've done both of it. This is a little bit lighter weight and a little bit more uniform with the white, so I just decided to go this way. I filled it full of wet floral foam, and you want to make sure it's wet because they do sell the dry stuff, but you want to make sure that it is able to retain water, and that will just hold our shape on a lot of the stuff that we've got going. Also, I've got some floral shears here. They look like regular scissors. They're not. They're designed for floral arranging. You can use regular, pruning snips or a knife, just whatever you have on hand. But you should try to use something that was meant for flowers. So that's what I've got here. All right. So now what I like to start out with is by building a little bit of a foundation with greenery. Now I have a little bit of magnolia leaves. I'm gonna just use a touch of it, primarily because I'm gonna be using it on my Thanksgiving table, just as an accent on the table. So I just thought I'd put a little bit of that in there. It's a beautiful leaf. I actually just got it off of a tree in my neighborhood, and so that's gonna work for us. So when you're doing flower arranging, when you do a base, you want to make sure that you make it look like it's natural. So, and you want to give it a little bit of height. So I've got some here for height. And then you'll put some that are low. But you want to just make it look natural. So I'm going to just do this for a minute. You can watch me. I might check back with you. So we'll put some shorter ones around the bottom here. And then I'll pop in some of that magnolia leaf. So the front's kind of facing me right now, so I'll spin it around, but you want to be facing what you're gonna be seeing. But I really want it to look nice on all sides, but there's definitely gonna be a front side. So we'll pop in some of this magnolia. It's kind of cool because it has green on one side and brown on the back. It adds a little bit of dimension. All right. So, got the greenery foundation going on. Looking good. Okay, so we've got some greenery in. I also got some of this, it's a little softer green. So I've got something, this is a little bit more harsh edges, and this is a little softer. So I usually try to use at least 2 or 3 different types of greens because it just adds more dimension. You want one that's somewhere in there, you want to use one that's a little softer that will soften some of those harsh edges. So I always try to use several different types of greenery. And I just picked up all of these at Trader Joe's. I like their prices, and I can usually get a pretty good variety. Truth be told, The selection was a little slim today, so I must have picked the wrong day, but usually I can find a huge selection, and honestly, what I got here is gonna work just fine. So, you can get stuff at the grocery store, or if you want to pick up a bouquet at your local florist, you can definitely do that. They'll wrap some flowers up for you. Just depends on what your situation is. All right. So you usually want to do like double the height of the base, so you want to at least do that. You want lots of depth and dimension, so you don't want it to mount on this specific arrangement. There's some arrangements where the intention is to have it mound. This is not one of those. So now we're gonna add, this is some stock. I love the way stock smells. It's just has a really strong but beautiful scent to it. Then we can get some height with this. Okay. So I usually like to do 1, 2, and 3. So you'll do tall, medium, short on the direction that you're facing. So we've got 1 tall, 1 medium, and this one I'll shove in there and make it out on the shorter end of things. And I do that kind of like in a zigzag, so boom, boom, boom. And then, we don't want to forget about the back, because it will most likely be seen, especially if you're putting it on the table. So I actually clipped the one stem into 2, and we'll just put some back here. We don't want to forget about this. And, oh, it smells so good, you guys. Sometimes I wish there was scratch and sniff videos, because a lot of times you don't get to smell it, but if you go out and buy stock, you can. Okay, so that looks really nice and feminine, and I may add some more in later, but right now I've got a good foundation going. So I'm gonna add some hydrangeas. These are my favorite flower. I just love them, but they pack a lot of punch. So these are really hefty, and I just love the way they look. They're very classy. Just one of my favorite flowers is a hydrangea. So we'll get one in a little taller. We'll stick this one over here on the side. All right. So I'm really liking the way it looks on this side. You'll eventually get to see what I did, and I'll spin it around for you. So, and then in just one of the bouquets that I bought, it had a Gerbera daisy, so I'm gonna stick this in, probably up over here. And then it had 1 random rose, and that's okay. We're gonna stick it in there. Oh, I'm loving this so far. And then it has some spray roses that I'll tuck in over here. So what you're trying to do is kind of space them out without mounding them. Just make it look like it was growing in a garden. That's what when somebody who trained me a long time ago is, you want it to look like it kind of does in nature. So, all right. Now I've got some chrysanthemums. Now chrysanthemums aren't like my favorite flower, but they do fill in things kind of nicely. So I'm gonna go ahead and use these. I'm gonna thin it out because it's a little mounded. And we will tuck that in back here. Oh, that's gonna be nice. And then I've got one more that I'm gonna tuck in somewhere. Okay, tuck that in right here in front. Okay, so it's filling in really nice, but I do find that I have a little bit of room to add a little bit more stock. So I'm gonna go ahead and, oh, I had one hypericum berry, so I'm shoving that in just for a little texture. And I'm gonna stick in a little bit more of that. Magnolia leaf. Okay, so I'm just gonna finish this up a little bit, and then I will clean up and show you the finished product. So stay tuned. Okay, so here it is, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. It reminds me of like a spring or summer garden right here in the midst of fall, but it still has that fall flair with the pumpkin, and it's just gonna work perfectly for what I have going. But now you can definitely customize this for what your event is. You can scale it down if your event's smaller, or make it as big if you've got a big grand event. So this is definitely customizable. You could use an orange pumpkin with vivid colors. Just do what works for you. So this is the front of it, but I did not forget about the back, and even though you can tell it's the back, it has a little bit going on, so it looks good from any angle. Okay, so for more great tutorials, make sure you subscribe to my channel below, and make sure you follow me on all of the major social media websites, and make sure you check out my website, designtotheninescom, for more great tutorials. And in the comments below, I'd really love to hear about your Thanksgiving family and friends traditions. I just love to hear about new ideas that people do. So if you want to comment below on that, I would really appreciate it. Thanks so much for watching, and stay tuned for more episodes, and I hope you have a happy Thanksgiving.